so much stuff floating around. I don't know. People trying to say they wasn't together.
Basically was trying to get into a threesome. What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome to another experience of Kay and Manny. I'm the one they call Manny. She's a lady of all K's. And I just want to put out, before we get into this unpacking of this episode, we just want to let you know that this episode has been brought to you by
Lady K Enterprises. Lady K Enterprises is a sponsor of this show. They are an organization that help families and business meet their financial goal. So definitely check out their website. If you see the link above, it says www.ladykenterprises.com. To get to it, click that Linktree link and hit Lady K Enterprises website. And that is the sponsorship for today.
Thank you, Lady K. How you doing, by the way?
Manny, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, but it's okay. I'm always excited to show up and be here because I appreciate everyone always showing up at 11 a.m. on Saturday just to be with us, just to hear the tea with Kay and Manny.
The tea?
The tea, yo.
I guess we could call it this on this particular episode. But
that's right.
Yeah, we're going to talk about
our perspective.
We're going to talk about the royal family here because over the past couple of weeks, a lot has been happening and a lot has been said and a lot has been uncovered. Because you know who, me, I was watching the All-Star game and then the next morning I'm hearing broadcast after broadcast after broadcast after broadcast about the royal family. And you know me, I can care less about them, but when it comes to Harry and Meagan and talk about what they're talking about, which we'll get to in just a second, I said, now this is worth talking about.
Right.
So here we are talking about Harry and Meagan and the royal family, or as they call it, the institution. Why do they call it the institution?
Don't ask me why, but you know what, Manny, I have to say this. I love our generation and I love what we are doing. Harry really exemplified that his mental health and his wife, especially his wife, mental health was key, and they could no longer be in that environment. See, Harry said something so profound when I was listening to that interview. He was saying to Oprah, he said something, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't want to mess it up. He said something to the extent that I didn't even realize, the bubble that I was in. This is how I grew up. This was my upbringing. But then when you get to a certain level in your life and you realize what you was told probably most of your life was a lie, and you start discovering things for yourself, you start to think for yourself, you're like, you know what? Yes, the security is great. Yes, the funding is great. Everything, living in this big ass castle, that's great. It's like, is it truly really worth it? Just by some of the things that he disclosed, I was like, I get it, and also to the extent when I think Kate, she hear me? Meagan mentioned one time.
Yeah, Meagan.
She said, I was in the house for 4 months, and out of those 4 months, I went outside twice. And then on top of that, she said she wanted to do regular things. And they told her, no, you can't do that. And it's like, who wants to live like that? Now, I'm going to play devil advocate a little bit. And I kind of understand why they can't because of who they are. And you got to understand when you're in that type of caliber, you are a target. People are eyeballing you. People want to take you. People want to snatch you. People just crazy. How about that? So, we know here in the U.S., was crazy, but can you imagine how things is over there in the UK? I don't know everything about their culture, but if you really think about it, some of the things that they do, they exemplify the same thing over here in the US. Like race is a factor over there. Just like back in the days when there was a lot of the West Indians, migrated to England, and even when they were there, it wasn't treated with respect. They was looked upon because look, they're dark. They're black. So, of course, It's the same thing. I feel like it doesn't even matter where you go in the world. It's like there's always that race card because we
Yeah.
already know when the queen made that comment about the baby and there was concern about the color.
Okay, hold on.
Wow.
Pump your brakes. We don't know if it was the queen. We only know, and this the reason why I'm saying this because Harry, for whatever reason, is not saying who he had this conversation with.
Right.
It wasn't with the queen. Let me point that out because a lot of people want to say, "Oh, it has a queen." No, he didn't say it was the queen. He was saying it was
Yeah.
somebody in the family.
Right.
Now, who? I don't know. We will never know, unfortunately. But let me kind of backtrack something real quick. You
Okay.
stated something about Megan's mental health, and I guess we can jump on this part of the conversation here. Yeah, we understand that Megan unfortunately got into a situation, i.e., married Harry, whereas she can't go anywhere basically because you have to be protected. Now, I can understand that you're a target because of British tabloids, which we'll get to in a moment.
Oh,
Which we'll come to that subject in a minute. We'll get there.
right.
But what I'm saying on that level is, why is it that okay? Is there a way that she can actually somewhat transition to way a little bit better instead of just like having lunch with their friends, and then the next moment can't talk to anybody? I think that's crazy in my
That's
mind.
crazy.
But let's be honest with ourselves here. Um, can they? Can he go out and have bodyguards? Can he go out and you know take a restaurant and say, "Hey, this section here has been blocked off because of the Duchess of Sussex or whatever"? I mean, they couldn't really. I mean, the one thing I really did not like about this is because number one, Megan was American. I mean, Megan was a homegrown, born and raised American, whereas Kate already had the upper hand of being British, understanding the culture, understanding what the royal family represented. Whereas Megan and unlike us, we only get a outside perspective of it. So the unfortunate part is Megan, one thing she said was Megan had to had to give herself a crash course of what to do, like how to sit properly or understanding the national anthem, God Save the Queen, and all the 30 hymns that came with it, and
Right.
it's just one of those things where it's just like, did the royal family really help her, or did he just kind of left her out to just be stranded and be embarrassed?
Wait, I
Because I'm
have
gonna
to
be
say,
honest with us.
wait, I gotta say something real quick. I gotta piggyback off of you. So with you saying that, right?
Uh-huh.
Megan did mention in the beginning that they were receptive to her, right? And they accept her and they embrace her, right? So here's my thing, right?
Okay.
So if you embraced her and you say, hey, she's gonna be part of the family, right? And if somebody is coming into your family, wouldn't you want them to have the proper education or the proper foundation about your family, your history, how they do things? So when
Yes.
she said, oh, I had to learn this myself, I'm like, was they really
Why?
embracing you? Did they really embrace you? And then
Correct.
did they really want you to, not fail? Because if that was the case, they would have had someone teaching you and molding you. And that was the case. So that part right there, I just think she really had a naive moment. I'm sorry. She think, oh yeah, they accept me. Yeah, first of all, you're American. Okay.
I can
Two,
understand what you're saying on that level because I can agree with you. Maybe there was a maybe that was just naive of Megan to think the royal family really had her back. Because to be honest with you, if you mess up anywhere, the British tabloids go crucify you, and the royal family's gonna let you crash and burn on your own. And then they go look at Harry and be like, "You really want this in the family because." You
mm,
see what's going on here? You know what I'm
right.
saying? Because a lot of times, let's be real. Sometimes when you bring somebody in the family, they're going to have that cautious, moment. Let's say, okay, who is she, and
Right.
how does she, how is she treating my kid? I mean, we
And
all
hold on.
we all go through that.
And on top of that, but you gotta understand in this situation, they're royalty. So this is like a moment of the prince and the frog. I'm not calling Megan no names, but it's the real truth that
Okay.
they're at this high caliber, and here's you, American, didn't come from much. What's your true intentions? Do you really like my grandson? Do you really do like Harry, or is there something behind it? So of course they're gonna give you the side eye because they're trying to figure out what do you want and what are you here for? What is your pure, true intentions? And guess what, too? Her coming from the background that she come from, just I'm sure living life, didn't have the best of all the world. Her mother tried very hard to provide for her because she was the only child for her mother. Because I remember her saying that she yearned for a sister. And I don't mean to jump ahead, but I'm gonna talk about the other
Go for
trifling
it.
sisters, the other trifling sister of hers on her father's side. But before I get there, I want to say this part that if she didn't come from nothing, people thinking, well, did she need to come up? You know what I'm trying to say? These are the questions that goes through the mind. So I cannot blame the royal family for saying like, do we really
But
gotta
hold
accept
on,
her?
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me ask this question then. Why would you believe that she was trying to go for a come up when one of the prince, like Prince Harry, mind you, Prince Harry said, "Hey, I met someone." I mean, regardless of, why would you think she's up for a come up?
No,
If
I didn't say personally she's doing for a come up. I'm saying what's going through their minds. They are saying, what is her intentions? Is she really here for Harry? That's what I'm saying. Because a lot of people are that's gonna go through their mind. That's gonna go
well,
through their mind.
in that case, you might as well say the same thing about Kate.
Listen, but here's the
Because
thing:
listen,
they're
but
of
hold
different
on.
cultures. They're of different cultures, though. See, and that's another factor
I get
too.
that part of it. I get that part of it. But at the same time, you have to understand that, okay, you are of royal prestige. Every woman is basically glowering of the fact that you want to become Queen of England at one point. So why on earth are you saying, is she getting the flag versus Kate? That's my question. It was like, why the dissension there?
I understand what you're saying, but again, if we really want to compare and contrast Megan to Kate, like we said before, Kate knows the culture. She's
Right,
from that place.
right.
I'm pretty sure that she had some connections, and she knew how to properly hold herself, and
Hmm.
again, this custom to the ritual, versus Megan. She is not of the ritual. She is not accustomed to anything. So of course, I'm pretty sure the queen probably had her eyes open. I'm pretty sure they probably digged into her past. Oh, and talking about her past, I'm gonna go there. Yes, with her dad and her estranged sister. The shadiness. It's so sad that the number one people that you call your family can throw you under the bus and make you look a certain way. See, and that's
Right.
another thing too that it goes hand in hand on what I'm saying as far as making my point of who is this girl. So the tabloids, I don't know if y'all know, they hunted down the father. They bought an apartment, or they rented an apartment that was near the father. They watched
Yeah,
the
I saw
father.
that.
They sent the father's gift. They did everything, and then so-called, we don't know, but I think it is the truth. But eventually, they said that he did take a nice piece of gift from them, and he gave them information that they needed. Now here's this part, right? I
Hmm.
heard that in the British world that the tabloids and the royal family, and those families that's of wealth, they have a great connection. You know why?
Yeah.
Because think about it. Wealth feeds into what's the word I'm looking for? Wealth feeds into other connections, because if you think about it, you put everything hand in hand. It's like you kind of need all of that just to make sure that everything is afloat. Like, perfect example, if the royalty family is having a party, or they're having some type of ball, and the tabloid comes, what is that? That gives them exposure. So
Yeah.
again, that works hand in hand. They need the exposure. They feed up exposure. This is how they make their coins. I'm not trying to say they're perfect, but this is how people get their money.
Yeah.
Again, just going back to Megan's dad, it was so trifling. She said she attacked her father and he denied the allegations. And then on top of that, her sister does a tell-all book. Now, here's the crazy thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The sister and her don't even have a relationship. According to Megan, I think
Right.
she saw her 2 times in her life. So my whole thing is, I said, if they didn't have a relationship, right, and it wasn't close, how did the sister do a tell-all book? Who's the connection here? The
For
father.
real.
The father. So
Right.
I don't think it was just fully just the sister. The father had to share the details with the sister in order for the sister to do a tell-all book. So Megan was like, "Tell on what? You don't even know
Know
me."
me.
You're
Right.
right. You're right. She don't know you. But guess what? You see that hunger for money. You see what I'm talking about? That
Yeah.
hunger for
Right.
money.
Mm-hmm. That hunger for money is truly treacherous. And let me just say this for the record. And Dustin, get the button ready. Megan's father ain't. I'm sorry. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Okay. Her father ain't. Her father ain't. Her stepsister ain't.
You said
Let's move on.
her half sister. That ain't her
Let's
stepsister.
okay. Half sister. What? Half sister, stepsister, whatever the sister. She ain't that either. But let's move on before I
But
get
hold
killed.
on. Okay, so we're gonna move
Let's
on,
move on.
right? So
Let's
hold
move on.
on. So remember at one point, I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna flashback to Harry's mom. When
Princess
Princess
Diana.
when Princess Diana was alive, she was loved. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
loved her. She just had a pure, genuine heart. You know what I'm trying to say? And just moving forward, when I was listening to the interview when Megan was talking to Oprah, she said something to the extent they took a tour, I think, in
In Australia.
Australia, and she
Australia.
said something to the point how the people was loving her and it was gravitating to her. And Harry said something to the extent this felt like a flashback, of when my mom
Right.
was there in his presence and how Kate, I'm sorry, I keep saying Kate, I don't know why, but when Megan had that impression, it seemed like the hate and the jealousy was coming out. It's like, why have the jealousy and hate when this is a person who represents your family? Again, it still goes back to y'all was never receptive of her. I
But I
didn't
have a
like
hot
her.
take on that. I have
Like
a
her.
hot take on
Just
that.
like they probably didn't like Diana. But then here's the crazy thing too. You don't go ahead and file a divorce from the prince. Like, that's unknown. Like,
The prince
you
had an
don't
affair.
right. We know that, but what I'm trying to say is in their culture, in their the thing that they do is like and Harry said this too. Yeah, we all been there, done that. Yeah, it hurts, but you just take it, you suck it up, and you keep moving. That part right there had me like, what? But you know what? That's not even nothing new because if you think about it, it goes on now. So it just shows you that it doesn't matter what part of the earth that you are. We're all going through the same things in different spaces. But I can only imagine when you're in that type of caliber, and you got the whole world looking at you. You
Right.
can't even you can't even have a heartbeat to mess up. That's not
My
acceptable.
I mean, I understand that's not acceptable, but let's go back to what you're saying about Megan and the trip to Australia, how it was kind of deja vu with her and Princess Diana. Whereas, okay, but if you really look at it
Mm-hmm.
look at it from a body language or from a standpoint of psychology here, um, Megan Megan was not really quote unquote taught by the institution, let alone by anybody British, of having a heart. Now, I'm not saying that all Brits don't have a heart, but I'm saying where Diana and Megan are similar, they were not as quote unquote robotic as, oh, bless you, child, whatever. He actually had took a moment to actually greet and understand what each child is going through, where like Diana did. However, it was kind of like the same thing, whereas the acceptance of, okay, who is she, or why is she doing that, or she's making us look bad. I get that part of it, but again, I just hate the fact that it all came down to this. It
Right.
all came down to, pretty much ostracizing Megan and Megan alone, and then all of a sudden you got Harry coming in, and all of a sudden you had to walk away from the royal family, like literally walk away. Like finances were cut off, his military status was stripped, Her
security.
security was stripped. Um, her his name and his title was stripped. Same thing with her name and her title was stripped.
Right.
And her security was stripped. So basically you just left them out there naked and alone, not literally, but it was just more like anybody can come at them, whereas the Brit tabloids or the US tabloids or what have you. Because I've learned from what you said earlier and what they said, the British tabloids are practically in bed with the royal family. And
Absolutely. And
but
also
then, but
too,
then you have to also look at it from a standpoint of, okay, if they're really controlling the narrative per se, as far as what is being said about them, then they had every opportunity to tell them, okay, she's off limits.
mm,
You do not talk about her. You do not talk about any of us in that level. They had every opportunity to do such. They never did it.
right.
Kind of goes
And
back to whereas Megan was naive to the fact that they really accepted her. Because I'm going to be honest with you, when she said that, I was just kind of like, did they really?
right.
Did they
Right.
really accept you? Because you had to learn everything on your own, and you had to do a crash course of it, and they were waiting for you, literally, for you to crash and burn. And then all this happened, and then you not going out, you having suicidal thoughts, and they're saying like, no, you can't see a therapist because that's going to make us look bad, things like that. And it's just like, wait a minute, what's really going on here?
Right. And I want to piggyback off of you because Harry said something too that opened my eye. He said, my
Mm-hmm.
mother probably knew that this was going to happen to me. So he said, if it wasn't for what my mother left me, I would not have been
You would never
able
done this,
to provide the security that my family needs. See, I want to also bring this to everyone's attention too. See, even though the your his family is just kind of like pretty much just owning him, at the end of the day he is still an heir to a throne, and guess what, you are still going to be a target no matter how much they disconnect you. People are, they they go for blood like that. So
mm-hmm.
when he kept talking about security, I'm like, I understand to the T why that was so important for him. His wife, his children. You could imagine how many people is on his back. But also this too, going back to him being the heir of the throne, because you are disconnected, your name and where you come from still speak volume. That when he
Right.
did decide to leave, Tyler Perry offered his mansion to him. Like, you see, because you got those type of connections. So even though the family cut him off, at the end of the day, they're
It's
still
fine.
good. They're still good. But like
They're good.
Harry said, they took that temporary money, got what they got them. Now look at them. Netflix, Hulu, everybody. Well, can we get your story? They're all looking. They all want to sit down with the prince and the princess because of who they are. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
at the end of the day, again, because the name carry weight, they're going to be just fine. And
Yeah.
that's just true. But I also commend Harry and fellas. I hope you are listening.
Mm-hmm.
When your wife or your lady is in distress and you make a move and say, you know what,
We out.
we out, that part. See, a lot of men can't understand, like, just like this, I have to bring this in, like, a Russell and Sierra. Like, I don't understand why Sierra's with him, because he brings her peace. He makes move to make sure that she's okay. Harry did the same thing for Megan, and I'm pretty sure deep down she's probably melting. Like, I will follow that man anywhere. That's how you get a
Right.
lady to. That's how you get a lady to follow you anywhere. When you take care home, because her mental space is home. That is
And her
everything.
mental space at
Her
one point was
peace.
messed up. Right.
Yes, her peace. A woman peace is everything. So when you bring that solitude to her, that's how you get your woman to say,
Right.
oh, I'll follow him to the moon, honey. Everyone that's listening right now, we want to hear from you. We want you to chat in the comments your thoughts about the royal family, about Harry and his wife, and do you think they made the right decision? We want to hear from you. Put it in the comments right now.
And before we go, I also want to say congratulations to Megan and Harry. They are expecting another child. I think it will be a girl. I think they
Right,
said, but I want
right.
to give them congratulations on that before we clear out of here.
Right. And again, I do want to give them that as well too, but also to I do want the audience to respond to us with their thoughts. So we hope that you appreciate it, today's show. We appreciate you and listening to us for this half an hour, but we definitely gotta go. We appreciate you. Continue to follow us here at the Lady K Chat Podcast here on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And also, too, don't forget Lady K Enterprises. They help families and businesses meet their family goals. So as you can see the link above, how to get to that link, click that link tree link in the bio, and you go right there straight to the website and you can see the services that they offer. So with that being said, everyone, follow us at the www.ladykenterprisesinc.com. And
Yes.
everyone, you have a great Saturday and be right back here next Saturday at 11 a.m.
See y'all.
Lady K.